My whole life's been built around aviation. And that's because when I was a young kid, somebody gave me a model. So my desire for aviation, that's where it started. It never went away. And my whole life has been based around aviation. I wanted to be a pilot so bad. Didn't want to go to Army school, that's helicopter. Well, that's what they gave me, helicopter. Went overseas to Vietnam. There's where you learn to fly. And spent a year over there, flew over 1,200 missions. And after that, I came back to the States, and then Lieutenant Colonel Smith called me in and said, "We're forming a new squadron, and I want you to be part of it." And that was neat. It was the first attack helicopter squadron in the Marine Corps. I thought that was neat. But anyway, flew there, and after that, I had a feeling that if I stayed in the Marines, I'd be limited because I didn't have a college degree. So I got out. After that, went to work for General Dynamics on the F-16. After that, they changed over to Lockheed Martin. Still, I was working on the F-16. I was very blessed to know them and work with them. I was in maintainability, so a lot of areas that I worked in were like getting black boxes out of the aircraft or maintaining the aircraft. The one thing that I'm kind of proud of is I got to work with the designers. The F-16 had so much new stuff in it. I mean, it was the first fighter that I can remember that had a canopy with no bow in it. And that looks neat and everything, but you wouldn't believe the issues with that. The other thing that was real heavy in was putting weapons on the aircraft, on the F-16. I used to, my job was understand the design and get it put on the aircraft, and then write the loading procedure, and then following the design engineers through with it. I just learned a lot, and it was very satisfying to me.
I'm a service brat. My father was in the Air Force, and he was a flight engineer on a B-29. I would go out with him from the start. You know, he flew control line at first, and then went into RC. His RC had escapements. They were rubber band driven, and I had a mini Mambo. It was my first RC plane. Went on and actually got into, I did fly a lot of hand launch glider for a while. I really enjoyed those. I got into SAM. My dad was talking about SAM models. So that's what I drifted to. That's what I liked. And I started being semi-successful, you know, placing in some events and stuff. My most fun, though, was flying against my father.
His dad got me started in SAM. You know, I jumped on that hook, line, and sinker because it was such a challenge to me, you know, being an engineer. You take a model that's old, and it is the marrying of the engine power and the model's flying capability to glide. So you got both worlds right there. It's just been a great hobby for me.
A lot of guys at SAM are getting older, way older than us, and that's kind of sad because every year you see the list of people that have gone on. You know, even things have happened in clubs where it's hard to find a place to fly, you know, or you find a place to fly and you purchase it. They build houses around it.
I guess what Frank's saying is the Planesmen is an old club. They were going to close down. They had some property that we flew off of. And like Frank said, it's surrounded by houses, so it wasn't really a good field to fly off of. And we sold the property and got a tremendous amount of money off of it. And we want the profit from that to go to AMA. And we want not just give it to AMA, but make something happen with it.
I didn't want to shut off the lights. You know, I didn't want to be the last one. You know, my father just died a couple of years ago. I knew what they wanted because I was there.
My approach was I owe it to past members. That's my approach. And I'm not going to give money away or filter it over to somebody else. They wanted to go to scholarships, it's going to scholarships. What we want to do here with AMA, we could have just give AMA the money and that's it. But we said we want a scholarship, and we worked up the details of that scholarship. Not only for somebody coming out of high school to go into engineering, but we also worked up AP scholarship for guys at mechanics and all that. Because we looked around, we didn't see any scholarships. So that's kind of the way it has grown. The audience we're shooting for are people that are in modeling, because we both believe in that modeling. I know what I got out of model aviation, and I would like to have the young set that's coming up have the same opportunity to learn those things, to be part of it. And I think that's what I'm after. Keeping the hobby alive is a big thing. AMA does a great job of trying to keeping it alive. So, and that's kind of why we're kind of pushing the scholarship and stuff. We want the Planesmen to not be forgotten. And what's really interesting, it's what does a Planesman want? It's not what AMA wants. So we've been able to have these dreams come alive. I don't know anything about scholarships, putting them together and everything. And it would just be too much for us to handle. But by going to the foundation, I mean, they're set up and they've helped us so much.
Yeah, you guys have been just phenomenal.
We are looking so forward to actually seeing it starting to roll. And we got well over 20 years of scholarship to hand out. So, I mean, it's just really exciting to me having to work on it. But we would not be here if it wasn't for the foundation.